Man, I gotta tell you, what went down at UFC Vegas 110 with Isaac Dulgarian and Yadier Del Valle, it's one of those moments where you just sit back and go, wait, did that really just happen? Because this wasn't your usual fight, dude. You've got two warriors stepping into the cage, but something about this one felt different. The odds were moving in crazy ways. The energy backstage was tense, and the second that bell rang, it wasn't just a fight. It was like watching a live experiment unfold in real time. I mean, Dulgarian came in undefeated, looked like he had everything to prove, and Del Valle, everyone underestimated him, but the way things played out, the precision of it, the speed, it had people talking, questioning, even raising their eyebrows at how real it all was. And that's why this story is wild, man. It's not just about punches and submissions, it's about the hidden layers behind the octagon, the psychology, the money, the integrity of the sport itself. By the time this video is over, you're going to see why this fight isn't just a fight. It's a storm that shook the MMA world and left everyone wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. Man, this whole Isaac Dulgarian thing is wild, dude, like straight up something out of a movie. So here's what happened. Before his fight at UFC Vegas 110, betting lines just started going absolutely nuts. We're talking about a guy who was undefeated, 6-0, a big favorite, and then all of a sudden, money starts flooding in on his opponent, Yadier Del Valle. Not just general bets either, super specific ones like Del Valle to win by first-round submission. That's not normal, man. You don't see that kind of pattern unless someone knows something. And then, boom, the fight happens, and exactly that outcome plays out. First-round submission, Dulgarian taps fast, like way too fast for a guy with his wrestling pedigree. It's one of those moments where you're sitting there like, wait a minute, what did I just watch? Sportsbooks started freaking out, people were posting screenshots of the odds movement, and within hours, major betting companies like BetMGM and DraftKings launched internal investigations. Some of them even refunded bets because it looked that suspicious. Think about that. These companies don't just give money back unless something's really off. And the craziest part, this isn't happening in some shady underground fight. This is the UFC, the biggest MMA promotion in the world. So when you've got those kinds of betting swings before the fight and then the exact scenario hits like a script, it's hard not to question what's going on behind the scenes. Because either that's the biggest coincidence of the year or someone somewhere had information they shouldn't have. And in a sport built on toughness, unpredictability, and honor, that kind of thing just hits different, man. It shakes the trust, the foundation of what makes fighting real. And that's where it gets really sketchy, man, because once you start seeing stuff like that, you have to wonder what it does to the integrity of the UFC as a whole. Like, this isn't some small-time regional show where shady stuff happens behind the scenes. This is the biggest fight organization on the planet, the one that built its entire image on being real, raw, and unscripted. The UFC has this reputation of being the ultimate proving ground for fighters, where everything is earned, where nothing's handed to you. But when something like this goes down, even the perception of corruption starts to crack that image. Think about it, Dan. A white's been fighting tooth and nail to keep betting clean, to stop fighters and coaches from leaking info. But if these betting swings are happening under his nose, what does that say about the system? It's like if people start believing fights might be manipulated, even a little bit, it completely changes how you watch the sport. Suddenly, you're not watching two warriors going to war. You're thinking, was that legit? And that kills the magic, man. The UFC has already dealt with a few betting scandals in the past couple years, enough to make sportsbooks nervous, and now something like this throws gas on that fire. They've got integrity partners, investigations, all that. But the truth is, once fans lose trust, you can't just PR your way back. And what's crazy is the fighters are the ones who suffer the most. Guys who live in the gym bleed for this sport, and now their hard work gets questioned because a few shady moves make everyone look dirty. It's like the whole foundation of what fighting means starts to shake, man, and then you start looking at the fighters themselves, like Isaac Dulgarian, and asking, what really happened in there? Yeah, and then when you really low, okay, at Isaac Dulgarian himself, that's what makes the whole thing even weirder, man, because this dude isn't some random guy who just got thrown into the cage. He's a serious athlete, a legit prospect, the kind of fighter people in the MMA world were quietly hyping up as the next big thing. He came in undefeated, 6-0, finishing every single opponent, wrestling background, tough as nails, training out of Factory X, one of the most respected gyms in the game. The guy had that classic Dagestani-style pressure, but with American grit, a mix that made him dangerous everywhere. So when someone like that suddenly goes out there, looks flat, almost disconnected, and loses in such an odd, uncharacteristic way, it just doesn't line up. You watch the tape and he's moving weird. His reactions are delayed, like his mind's not synced up with his body. It's not just losing. Fighters lose all the time. It's the way he lost that made everyone stop and go, wait, what the hell was that? He didn't defend like he normally does, didn't fight the hands on the choke, didn't even look panicked. It was like he accepted it. And when a guy who's known for his aggression suddenly just folds like that, he's impossible not to question what's going on behind the curtain. Was it pressure? Injury? Something mental? Or maybe something darker? That's the conversation happening right now because people can't make sense of it. And when fans can't make sense of something, they fill in the blanks with suspicion. It's not fair to him, maybe, but that's what happens when timing, performance, and money all collide. And that's why the MMA community blew up after this fight, everyone trying to decode what really went down that night. And dude, the reaction from the MMA community after that fight was absolutely insane. Like the second it ended, social media just exploded. Fighters, analysts, even casual fans were all saying the same thing. Something's off. You had pros tweeting mid-event, people like, yo, what the hell did we just watch? Because it didn't feel like a normal loss. It felt off script, like something deeper was happening. Reddit threads were on fire. YouTube channels were dissecting every frame in slow motion. People breaking down Dulgarian's body language, comparing it to his past fights, pointing out how he didn't look locked in mentally from the walkout. And you can tell, man, the energy was weird. It wasn't just disappointment. It was confusion mixed with suspicion. Some fans were defending him, saying maybe he got rocked early, maybe there was something wrong in camp, maybe nerves just got to him, but others were straight up calling it one of the sketchiest fights they'd ever seen. Even coaches and fighters were dropping subtle hints like, yeah, that looked strange, without actually saying it outright because nobody wants to accuse another fighter publicly without proof. But that's how loud it got. People were questioning the integrity of the sport, bringing up how betting lines spiked, how insiders might have known something. And that's the scary part, man. Once the community starts doubting what they're watching, once people think the outcome might not be pure competition, it damages the trust that holds the entire sport together. The UFC's built on that raw authenticity, that idea that once the cage door closes, it's just two people, truth versus truth. And when that starts to crack, even a little bit, fans don't just react. They go to war online trying to figure out who's responsible and what really happened behind the scenes. And why? Zoom out, man, that's when it starts to get really concerning because this isn't just about one fight or one weird betting line. It's about the bigger picture. It's about whether the UFC is starting to lose control of the one thing that made it untouchable, its credibility. For years, the UFC was the gold standard of combat sports. No fixed fights, no politics inside the cage, just pure, raw competition. That's why people trusted it. You could turn on a UFC event and know that whatever happened in there was real. But now, with stuff like this, suspicious betting, fighters looking off, weird officiating, and a growing influence of gambling, it feels like those cracks are starting to show. And that's dangerous, man. Because the second fans start thinking the outcome might be manipulated, even a little bit, the magic disappears. The UFC's a billion-dollar machine, but it's built on human integrity. Fighters, refs, judges, all doing their part honestly. You mess with that, you risk turning MMA into another circus like boxing used to be, where every big fight has an asterisk next to it. And look, I'm not saying the UFC is corrupt, but there's this sense now, like maybe they're not watching the shop as closely as they used to. Too many cards, too many fights, too many variables, and the betting world's got its claws in everything. The organization's grown so massive that even Dana can't keep his hands on every detail anymore, and that's when weird stuff starts slipping through. You just hope this isn't the start of that slippery slope, man, because if fans lose faith in what's real inside that octagon, the whole foundation of the sport starts to shake. And once that happens, it's damn near impossible to rebuild. Man, at the end of the day, that's what makes this whole thing so wild, because it's not just about one fighter or one weird night or some shady betting movement. It's about the soul of the sport, you know? MMA's always been about truth. Two people stepping in there and finding out who's real when everything else gets stripped away. And when that truth starts to get blurred by money, politics, or outside noise, it shakes people because fans believe in this stuff. They invest their hearts into it. And I think that's why everyone reacting so strongly, they're not just angry, they're worried. They don't want to see the thing they love lose purity. I hope this whole situation makes the UFC, the commissions, and even the fighters take a hard look in the mirror, man, because this sport's too special to let it get poisoned by greed or corruption. MMA was built by warriors, by people who bled for something real, and if there's even a shadow over that, it deserves to be exposed and fixed before it spreads. But hey, I'll say this too. Controversy or not, it's a reminder of how alive this sport is. People care. They care enough to question, to argue, to dig for the truth, and that's a good thing. So here's to hoping this whole storm pushes MMA to get stronger, cleaner, and more transparent than ever. And to all the fans out there watching, listening, staying passionate, you guys are the heartbeat of this whole thing. Stay curious, stay sharp, and keep that love for the fight alive. Good luck, take care of yourselves, and as always, thanks for tuning in, man. I'll see you on the next one.